All right, geometry students of spring 2024, here is your further EOC review. All right, so we are doing, this is called Geometry EOC Practice 1 through 20. So you might have noticed that there's 20 questions on this one, so make sure your paper says Geometry EOC Practice 1 through 20, and then your name and date is always a nice thing to put on there. And we're going to dive right into this problem. Remember, your goal is about 2 minutes per problem on all of these. So you have roughly 2 minutes to solve each problem on the EOC. It's a little different every year, and the timing is just a little bit different every year, and the number of questions is just a little bit different. But it seems to average about 2 minutes per question. So make sure you have your calculator, and let's dive right in. Now remember, also, I want to emphasize there's always so many different ways to solve and to think about problems, but I encourage you to stay motivated and stay active and engaged in trying to solve the problem, all right? Keep that motivation strong throughout this whole process. Okay, we got to build some mental stamina because believe me, in the future with the possibility of family and kids and mortgage and all the things that adults do all the time, plus a 9-to-5 job, plus activities in the evening, you're going to need the mental stamina. So you got to build that up a little bit, all right? So it's important to build mental stamina. So Kelvin is at his house located at 3,4. I recommend always drawing this. Most of us learn or at least process visual information. That's why scrolling is so addictive, partially. We process visual information. It's more, it's easier for us to process. It's easier for us to see. So always draw things. That's why you know that students that refuse to pick up a pencil or that only pick up a pencil as the last resort, drive me insane. Your hands are perfectly strong, okay? So pick up that pencil and just start drawing some stuff. So here is Kelvin's house, and here is the store, 1, 0, right there. To the nearest 10th, now the store is exactly halfway between Kelvin and Mitchell's house. To the nearest 10th, what is the distance between Kelvin's house and Mitch's house? So he's at 3, 4. This is 1, 0. So there's multiple ways to solve this. We could figure out this distance here and double it, okay? That's probably the way we'll go. Let's just do it that way. Because if you forget distance formula, and let's be honest, who doesn't? Distance formula is that long square root with x and y squared and stuff inside it. Let's just use Pythagorean theorem, all right? It ends up being the same thing. We're going to make ourselves a little right triangle here. This right triangle is 4 units tall and 2 units wide. It's 2 from here to here. So we're going to use our Pythagorean theorem. 2 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. And this is 4 plus 16, so 20 equals c squared. So c is the square root of 20. Square root of 20 is 2 on the square root of 5. So we're going to end up doubling that because remember the store is halfway. So we end up with 4 on the square root of 5. Now that doesn't match any of our answers. So we've got to grab our calculator and find out which one of those answers matches our answer. And probably you used a calculator here anyway, which is perfectly fine. So I'm just going to do the square root of 20. Oh, yeah, great. Square root of 20 and double it times 2. That gives us 8.9. There we go, part D right there, answer D. All right, I'm going to move fairly quickly if I can. Some of these problems are pretty hard, right? It's the EOC. We're not expected to make 100 on the EOC, although you would certainly expect me to make 100 on the EOC. Okay, a circular sidewalk is being constructed around the perimeter of a local park. A brick pathway will be added through the diameter. So we've got our brick pathway in the black line here, as shown on the coordinate plane, and a tree will be planted in the sidewalk at the center of the circle. What is the x-coordinate where the tree will be planted? So we want not both coordinates, but the x-coordinate. So I'm going to estimate, we can kind of estimate. I mean, I think it's 4. But ideally, we simply get the midpoint between this. And midpoint is much easier than distance formula. We just add our x's together and divide by 2, add our y's together and divide by 2, but we're not going to do that second step because all we need is the x value. So add 9 plus -1, that is 8, divide by 2, the answer would be our 4 right here. Okay, Moving along in the figure below, lines K, M, and N are parallel. You see this a lot. You see these parallel lines with these transversals. What is the sum of angle 1 and angle 2? So identify what it's asking. This is what is the sum of that plus that. Okay, and let's start calculating everything that we can. So if that's 150, then this one over here, these two, angle 2 and this angle right here are equal, they're congruent because they're alternate interior. So this is 30 degrees. That means I know that angle 2 is 30 degrees. Why is that 30 degrees? Not 30 squared, it's not 900, it's 30 degrees. That's 150, these two make a linear pair, so they add up to 180, so that's 30 degrees, that's 30 degrees. And if that's 50, then this is 50 because, again, they're alternate interior, so 50 plus 30 is our 80. Moving on. I told you I'd have to move quickly, and you have to move a little bit quickly too. You want to make sure you're doing the easier problems as quickly as possible so that it saves time for the ones that require a little bit more processing, right? So what regular polygon has an exterior angle that measures 60 degrees? Exterior angles always add up to 360. That's a weird thing about exterior angles. Now you remember with triangles, all of the interior angles add up to 180. Those would add up to 180. But with exterior angles, no matter what the figure is, I'll make it a pentagon. All of these angles, all of those exterior angles add up to 360. So if we're dividing by the number of angles to get each one, what number would we divide 360 by to get 60? And the answer would be 6. So we're talking about a regular hexagon. Hexagon has 6 sides. All right, and I'm glad I remembered that. Which is the equation of the circle? All right, to be fair, we haven't done equations of a circle in quite a while, but we will be getting to those. So we've got equation of a circle. The main thing that I remember with equation of a circle is that is the ratio. Hey,
Sorry.
no, you're okay.